Today we're going to be controlling grey squirrels. This is the rifle that I'm going to be using, a CZ457 in 22LR. Right behind me is the woods that I need to go and get myself into. So I'll go get myself set up in there, put out my feeder cam, get into my hide, put a magazine into the rifle, and then we'll be ready to go. I have thinned out the squirrels in here already, so there is still quite a few more. We'll see how many more we can get. With myself now set up comfortably in my hide, we're now looking at an afternoon session. This is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. At this time of day you don't really see much activity from squirrels, so I'm not expecting squirrels to be rushing in. I've had to wait about 45 minutes until the first one has appeared, and you can just see on the left hand side, that is where my hide is. You can see I'm in the shadows, I can't be seen, so the squirrels don't really see me. At this point it's simply just a waiting game. You gotta wait for that squirrel just to pick up a peanut, set itself in a comfortable position to eat, and then I'll take the shot. With one squirrel safely in the bag, I'm not sure if this squirrel is actually going to be coming to the feeder, so I actually take my chance quite early. It held still just long enough for me to get a shot away. Like I've said, being the afternoon, I'm not expecting loads of activity just yet. You are going to get the tricklers which just come in, and I'm hoping that this next squirrel is not going to be put off about the dead body on the ground, but generally doesn't really bother them. They're more interested in getting themselves a free meal, particularly when it's peanuts. Squirrels sometimes can travel quite a big distance to actually get to the feeder. As long as they know there's a reliable food source, they'll keep on coming to it. I just happened to notice this one coming in from my left hand side. And it's wasting no time getting up towards that feeder. Sometimes squirrels at this point will start noticing the dead bodies on the ground. They'll get a little bit agitated. Sometimes they'll inspect, but most of the time they'll get a peanut and they'll always settle. I wasn't waiting around for that one. As soon as it had that peanut, I just pulled the trigger. A little bit of kicking and thrashing, but that's 4 in the bag. This is actually quite a rare sight because rabbits are not really in this area. But this young baby one kind of came out of nowhere and just happened to stay in front of me. And then I realised why it was actually running. A buzzard had come in and it was actually being attacked. I'm glad I didn't take a shot at it, and I hope this rabbit managed to get away. This time it's just managed a lucky escape. Back to the squirrels, and it looks as if now the squirrels are starting to be a little bit more agitated with dead bodies which are now piling up onto the ground. However, peanuts are more important. That's where this one's going. Still very direct. So it's looking very promising that we're going to get another. That's 5 now, and this squirrel made it very, very easy. It's been a couple of hours now, so I decide I'll just go quickly collect those 5 that I've shot. Gives me a chance just to quickly stretch my legs, because I'm expecting a few more to be coming in as the day goes on. I also take the opportunity to put another 5 rounds into my 5-round magazine. With those 5 squirrels now cleared away, there shouldn't be any problem with any squirrels getting agitated. However, this one isn't quite direct. It does come onto the feeder, but jumps to the other side. However, all you need is some patience, because now that it's in this position, you know it's going to get a peanut. I'll quickly tell you the equipment that I'm using. So as I've said, CZ457 in 22LR, shooting Eley Subsonic 38 grain, Orkan 5 to 20 on top, and I'm also using a man-billy saddle clamp. All the information is in the video description below. Even though I like it when there's two squirrels which have come to the feeder, the bad news is I'm using a rimfire. The 38 grain subsonic ammunition makes a hell of a crack when it hits a squirrel, which is highly likely to scare the other squirrel away. In cases like this, it's quite unlikely I'm going to get two in a row. Right after that shot was taken, I was watching within the corner of my eye, and the other squirrel has made a run for it up the tree. All is not lost actually. I could hear this squirrel barking. It was barking for about 10 to 15 minutes. I couldn't see it, but eventually it came a little bit lower and I could see it closer to the feeder. It was certainly in no rush to come down. It's still very, very nervous. It doesn't know whether to come down or not, so I make a decision for it. You can probably hear the rain and you can see just how much darker it's now starting to get. So at this point I decide I'll go collect these few that I've just shot, and that's where I'll call it for today. This is the second time I've shot this feeder in the last 2 weeks. On the first one I got 13 squirrels, but today we managed to get 8. That's still a really decent bag, so I am really happy with that. My CZ457 performed really well today. 38 grain Eley Subsonics really do hit them hard, and I have changed the trigger spring in this to make it much lighter and a lighter let off. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you subscribe, and if you want to see an extended version of this video, there is a link at the very top in the video description where it'll take you to my Patreon, and you'll get to see a bit of extra footage where I'm shooting my Virac HW100 on a different squirrel feeder, just as a bit of extra footage. Thank you very much, and I shall see you on the next one.